Now, it's emerged that 1 in every 4 foreign care workers, up to 25,000, by the way, are working illegally in the UK. That's according to the Chief Inspector of Borders and Immigration. Unbelievably, the Home Office has issued 275 visas to a care home that did not exist and 1,234 to a company that claimed it only had 4 staff when granted its licence to operate. This follows reports that more than 700 foreign nurses in Britain are treating patients despite being under investigation for not actually being qualified. The alleged fraudsters used proxies to take the necessary registration tests in Nigeria. So, Richard, with the social care and nursing sectors being played, does Britain's broken immigration system actually need a complete overhaul? I mean, are people dying as a result of this now?
Who knows, Patrick? But what we do know is that this is just yet more utter, woeful incompetence from the Home Office, from various authorities, and indeed the NHS with regard to nurses that are not qualified, it turns out. Wherever you look, there is just so much incompetence, you actually have to describe it as gross negligence. It's appalling, and we're all, not only are we suffering, we're paying the bills for this, and all our quality of life is deteriorating, and yet no one in the establishment or in Parliament seems to care at all about this stuff. And as for a fake care home, how could anybody be so useless not to just check maybe does the care home exist? I mean, how does this happen? It's just mind-boggling. People at home will be just, frankly, throwing something at the television. Yeah,
I mean, the care home sector is one thing. The fact that we also have potentially 700 nurses who've never done a nursing qualification working in the NHS, they could be treating you now.
But they're completely unrelated. The only common factor is utter incompetence and negligence. That's the point. And it's us that's paying the bill. And it's infuriating.
I'll read what the Home Office have said about this. So they've now announced new restrictions, they say, on social care visas, and a spokesperson has said this. Care workers make a vital contribution to society, but immigration is not the long-term answer to our social care needs. That is why measures due to be laid in Parliament will cut the rising numbers of visas granted to overseas care workers and address significant concerns about high levels of non-compliance, worker exploitation and the abuse within the sector of overseas workers. But it's difficult though, Rich, isn't it? Because it's easy for you to sit there and say, well, look, this is complete and utter incompetence. I suppose at the moment, if we didn't have these people, then we wouldn't have enough staff.
It's not difficult at all. It's actually blindingly simple. It worked in the 80s, it worked in the 90s, using British people, British workers.
What if they don't want to do it, Richard?
No, it's about pay, because what's happened is, if you import cheap, low-skilled or unqualified overseas labour, you depress British wages, so big business makes off handsomely, and it's the decent British worker that gets utterly shafted.
All right, well, here's another absolute shocker for you. So a new report has found that economically inactive legal migrants and foreign students have cost the taxpayer £36 billion since 2020, in figures that cast doubt over claims that mass migration is actually crucial to boosting Britain's ailing economy. And if you take students out of that, it is around £24 billion since 2020 for economically inactive legal migrants. I mean, Richard, surely now, after everything, after talk about pressures on housing, pressures on our infrastructure, surely now the economic argument's gone as well, hasn't it?
But again, we've been lied to for decade after decade by the establishment, by the Labour Party, by the Conservative Party. They always said that immigration is good for our economy. No, it's not. These figures prove it. If you have cheap, low-skilled immigration for people who are depressing British wages or not working at all, then actually it's a huge burden on us, on our public services. We all pay the price. Public services get worse, housing rents go up, and the quality of life in our beloved country deteriorates. And it's got to stop.
What about GDP, though, Richard? And you can't put a price on cultural enrichment.
Hey, but what happened to GDP last year, Patrick? It went down. The Prime Minister says the economy is recovering. He's got a plan. No, it's not. We're in recession. And when you take an account of GDP per head, we've actually been going down for 7 quarters in a row, the worst since record began in the mid-50s. It destroys the whole of this mass immigration Nightmare.
But what do we do practically here? So if we've got 20, let's take the foreign students out of it, all right, look, that's, that is what that is. But if you've got the £24 billion since 2020 going to economically inactive people, so that we've legally let in it, what do we do with them now? I mean, some of those could have been here for years. I mean, we can't just deport them all, can we?
No, that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is actually people have got to become economically active. People who are not working, who can work, shouldn't be able to claim benefits. The people who come to live in the UK, there's a fee for using our services. It's not a freebie. The reason so many people are coming here is because we stupidly make it a freebie.